So if you've been following me on this journey of this video series, you know I suffer from migraines, and I didn't want to make this video, but I feel like I have to because it's such a big part of my life, sadly. And considering I'm making this video series for my kids, most likely they're gonna have it as well. So I thought I'll record my journey of where it started, what the treatments I've done, and where I am today. Hi, my name is Opie. I talk about health, wealth, and happiness. So generally, I'm a very positive person. It's always, the glass is half full. But this is one part of my life where, unfortunately, I struggle with, and it is a real pain. And I'm not talking about metaphorically. It is a actual physical pain that I wanted to discuss. And hopefully, if you're suffering from migraines, you can probably relate to this, share some ideas on what you're doing. If you are not, you may know someone who is actually suffering from migraines, and maybe you can sort of help them out with some of these tips. But either way, I'm hoping this will give some insights onto the day-to-day life of what it's like to suffer from these. Before I give you the history of it, I'll explain what the pain is like. It's basically a massive pain, usually behind one of the eyes, either the left or the right, and it goes all the way back. And the pain is so excruciating, they describe it as an elephant sitting on your head. It gets to the point where, people have different types of symptoms. They're very sensitive to light, which I am, sound, and I'm even sensitive to smell as well. So if there's a really strong smell, you end up just feeling very nauseous to the point where you end up throwing up, most of the time. And I remember the days I used to work in the city, I'd catch the train back and I'd be feeling sick, and I'd get off at the train station, throw up, and come back into the train and come back again. It was just horrible. Even when I was DJing, I remember I would play a song, go outside, unfortunately vomit, come back, play another song, and it was the most excruciating time of my life where I would suffer from this, because you can imagine DJing while you've got a pounding migraine. It's not pleasant at all. And I can't believe, looking back at it, I can't believe I ended up enduring that and going through that, because you can't call in sick because you've got clients who have booked you for a wedding or some sort of special function. It's very difficult to send someone else as well, because they've booked you as a person, and you've gone through the run sheet, gone through the music. So you have to turn up, where even if you're suffering or not. And I did that for many, many years. And yeah, the pain is, it can be a 10 out of 10, to the point where it's unbelievably bad. Okay, it's extremely bad. I remember to the point where, sometimes it gets so bad, you're, under the covers, and you end up getting even suicidal thoughts. You're like, man, I wish I can just get a gun and just get this pain to go away. That's not that I would ever do that, but that's how bad the pain can be. So I actually didn't know that this was an actual condition until I started working for a commission in Victoria called the Victoria's Disability Workers Commission, where I worked there for a 6-month period to implement one of their CRMs. And while I was working there, I learned that migraines is actually a form of disability. Ta-da! I didn't know, but apparently it's that bad, to the point that the classification is classified as being disabled. All right. I wonder if I can get one of those stickers where I can park anywhere. I haven't tried. Maybe I should. Sorry, I'm looking at this because I've got a bit of notes that I wanted to go through. So in terms of these migraines, it is a hereditary thing as far as I understand it, because my mom had it, my grandfather had it, and it's a whole line of things. So it's not something that I can't figure out what the trigger factors are. I've tried, I've given up on that. Now it's just a matter of maintaining this going forward. Interesting story about my grandfather. So my mom's dad, when he was 22 years old, he had a local doctor. Like, it wasn't a village doctor is probably the correct word. A village doctor come to him and goes, "Hey, sir, I can cure your migraines, but there is a catch, a huge catch. The catch is your hair is going to be permanently white from here onwards." And he was 22 at this point in time, remember. And he goes to me, "That's fine. I'm happy to live with that." So he did whatever he did, and his hair turned white. My mom's always said she's never seen her dad with black hair. So from the age of 22, he's had white hair, but hey, guess what? No migraines. I mean, if I was to give that option today, I would take it in a heartbeat. I don't care. Hair, no hair, white hair, doesn't matter. Get rid of my migraines. So I can see why my grandfather took that option. I don't know if it's true. This is what I've been told. I don't know what treatment was given to him. I mean, who knows, right? These ancient people, our ancestors, I guess, ancestors. I guess they are our ancestors. Have remedies that we can't even fathom. So he must have been given something, and his migraines went away, which is phenomenal. And my grandfather, I can understand from his point of view, because he was a school principal, he was a renowned boxer at the time, he was also a politician, so he was a busy guy. He didn't have time to be laying around feeling sorry for himself. I can relate to him in this aspect because I'm doing a lot of things. You just don't have the time to have that downtime. So I have heard, though, there's other treatments. So my mother obviously suffered from this as well. And I remember growing up very young, she'd be in her room sleeping, and she'd suffer through this alone, unfortunately. My dad would try and help as best as he can, doing some of the housework and so forth, but she'd be suffering through this horribly. I remember one time really clearly, she told my sister and I, "Hey, can you guys try and be quiet? My head's not good. I have to go and sleep." And I was about 10 at the time, and I had no idea. Like, you would think a 10-year-old would have a bit of common sense. I obviously didn't, because I ended up playing the drums outside the bedroom. Poor thing. You look at these, some of the mistakes you did in the past, and you go, man. So she endured through it. But here's something what I wanted to share. She ended up having a hysterectomy later in life, and the migraines disappeared. So reasonable, major surgery, migraines gone. I ended up meeting this uncle at a function, and he goes, "Son, I heard you suffer from migraines." You know what? I had been suffering from migraines as well. I had a heart operation, migraines disappeared. And I actually have heard this from a few other people. I don't know if it's true, but they seem to have been suffering from migraines, major surgery, migraine goes away. Obviously, I can't really do much with this knowledge except entertain the fact that it's a good idea. I mean, what am I going to do? Have brain surgery or heart surgery or something like that so my migraines go away? But it's an interesting thought, right? Let me know if you've heard of this phenomenon as well. I don't know how true it is. Now going back to, I guess, my story. My story began when I was about 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. I started getting abdominal pains to the point where, it was really uncomfortable even going to school. Anyway, it got escalated to the point where it went from the general doctor to the specialist, and the specialist was sitting with me, and he thought I was lying. And as I guess some kids do, and the specialist goes to me, "How many days of school have you missed?" Because he thought I was faking it to cut school. And I said, "1 day." I remember this distinctly, and he goes, "Oh, just 1 day." So at that point in time, I guess he figured out I wasn't lying. I can't remember what the remedy was, but that lasted a few years and it disappeared. Fast forward to the point I was 19, started uni, and this is when my migraine started on my head. To the point where I would be missing tutes, lectures, because I'd be down and out with just sheer pain. Didn't know what was going on. Went to the GP, got CT scans done, thinking that it was a tumor or something like that. Obviously, it wasn't. His recommendation, the doctor's recommendation was, why don't you have some Panadol? Why don't you have some Nurofen? Looking back at it, this is just, it for those who suffer from this, it's nothing. It's like having a lolly. It's like having a Tic Tac. Does nothing. It's a different type of condition. Absolutely, you might as well not have anything at all because it doesn't help with the pain. But this is what the GP was recommending. So I suffered from that for a long time, just trying to manage it as best as I can. And you get up each morning and you don't know if you're going to have it or not. And sometimes it would develop later in the day. So you would go to work, uni, try and manage it, but half the month or so, I would be down and out. But because of the type of life that I was leading, you would have to sort of just keep going. There was no stopping that workload, right? But something did happen in 2019. I ended up seeing this new doctor, and she goes, okay, let's just start from the ground up. Have you tried this particular medication? So by that time, I've been suffering for about 18 years or so with no help. Like when you think about it, so 2019, she goes to me, have you tried this drug called Sumatriptan? And I go, no, well, I don't think I have. Anyway, she gave me a prescription. I got it. And I remember I ended up getting a migraine at work, took this, and my tongue swelled up a little bit, lips swollen up. I can definitely feel it, right? But an hour later, the migraine was gone. Completely gone, but I was nauseous. And I'm like, that is fine. I can handle this. I can keep going through it. Like really drowsy feeling. But at that point in time, you're on cruise mode and you just get through it. And that has been the biggest game changer for me. Thankfully, it has worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody else, unfortunately. It does work for a lot of people, but it is on prescription. It's the medical term is Sumatriptan. They call it Migraine here. There's a generic term as well, which I can't remember. But that's even today, that's my go-to medication for migraines. The trick is you can't take more than 10 of these a month because otherwise that itself causes migraines in the following month. So you have to be really cautious on how many of these things you take. So now we're at around the COVID period, 2020, I ended up seeing a neurologist because that particular GP who recommended the Sumatriptan said, hey, maybe you should see a neurologist. Started seeing a neurologist. Saw him for about 12 months. And for those who think, Australia, you've got free healthcare, it's not the case, right? When you see a specialist, not all of that is subsidized. I remember I was paying $250 out of pocket per visit each time I went to see him. And it was very general conversation, like looking back, hey, are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? Are you exercising? Are you stressed out? Like very high level. And this was a conversation every single time. And I'd be like, hey doc, I've cleaned up my diet. I'm sleeping best as I can. Stress is on and off from work. But all in all, it wasn't very helpful, period. To the point where I'm going, this is not going anywhere. But there was this new treatment coming out, which was an injection that was available at the time. I go to him, hey, doc, have you heard about this injection? It's a preventative injection where you take once a month, and that was supposed to prevent it. Because at this point in time, I had been getting 15 to 20 a month. So more than half the month, I was struggling. And his reply to me was, oh, I didn't know you can afford it, therefore I didn't recommend it. And I'm going, because it was about 700 Australian dollars at the time. And I'm going, well, maybe you could have just recommended it or asked me if I could afford it. Because to me, $700 is a lot of money, but for me to have, some of my life back, it might be a worthwhile amount that I was willing to pay to get some of my life back. But he ended up sort of trying to make that decision for me and didn't even recommend it until I asked him about it. And just before that, though, I distinctly remember him calling me up and go, "Hey, have you had the COVID vaccine?" I go, "Dude, forget the COVID vaccine. I'm, COVID's not going to impact me. I'm in peak health, prime of my life. I'm going to be fine. There's a 0.001 chance that COVID's going to impact me, whereas my migraines are impacting me every second day." And as you can imagine, it was this particular guy was really frustrating to me, to the point where I ended up going to see him once, and height of COVID, he was wearing almost a hazmat suit, and I'm going, "Gee, guys." So I'm like, I got to get away from this clown. Very frustrating. And as I said, because it was just very high level, very fluffy stuff. We're not really getting to the root cause stuff. And at that point in time, I had decided, okay, this is not something that I can find the trigger, because I've done my best to find the trigger, which I can't. I'm just going to try and manage it as best as I can. So anyway, he ended up writing me a prescription for the injections, and thankfully the injections worked to a certain degree, to the point that it reduced it from 20 a month to less than 10 a month. Okay, and for those 10 days or so, I was able to manage it with Sumatriptan, which is that immigrant medication. So all in all, I was a functioning human being in society. All the days that I would get it, as I said, I would have to have the Sumatriptan, sleep it off for about an hour and a half, because there would be still that groggy effect afterwards that throughout the day. So I would pretty much be like a zombie, but I'll be able to get through the day, basically. I'd have to do all these other stuff like put peppermint oil on my forehead. So I've got my stash of shoelaces that I would tie around my head just really tightly, just to take that pressure away, or put the pressure on, I guess. Prior to me putting peppermint oil, I used to put Tiger Balm. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Tiger Balm, but Tiger Balm was this really strong balm. But I wouldn't recommend this for any of the ladies, because it would take its layer of my skin away. I don't use it anymore because the peppermint oil does the same thing. Just be careful on it. If you do apply it to yourself, be careful that it'll roll down into your eye, because it'll sting. So just try and put it as high as possible. And I would go to sleep for about an hour, a little bit more, after taking that Sumatriptan, and I'd get up. I'd be able to function. Still a bit zombie-ish, but I'll be okay. So this is where I am today. I'm just trying to think of anything else that I've missed. So even today, preventative injections, the Sumatriptan, peppermint oil, shoelaces. These are my go-to remedies. During, as a migraine sufferer, you end up getting advice from friends, family, colleagues, which are sadly unhelpful advice. So if you got people who are around you and you tell them, "Hey, why don't you drink some water?" It's not helpful at all. If water could cure this, I still drink a lot of water anyway. It's not dehydration. Comments like that are not helpful at all. Why don't you take a Panadol or a Nurofen? Again, not helpful. It does nothing to the migraines. Have you been sleeping enough? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on the person, right? Mine's fluctuating, but again, I've sort of done self-assessment on this, and it's not the sleep. Sleep doesn't. I don't know if it factors in, but it's not 100% factor at all, because there are periods in my life where I've had good 8 to 10 hours of sleep, solid sleep, and I still get migraines. So for me, that's not it. I obviously try. When you're sort of in this journey, when you're in this phase, the only way I can get through it is basically by being grateful that this is something that I can tolerate, and I've got the mental capacity to just push forward. I know there are other people who have got it worst in their own life, such as, with heart disease, cancers, much more debilitating conditions, right? Maybe even fatal conditions. So I always try and think, the glass is half full. be positive. Again, I didn't want to make this video, but I'm making it so hopefully someone can get something out of it. And if you've got anything that I can get out of it as well, please leave a comment. Again, I'm also making this for my kids because there's a chance that they may get it as well. Who knows, decade down the track, we might have some sort of viable treatment for this type of condition. But for now, I'm going to deal with it as best as I can. Thank you very much for listening to this rant of mine and this journey that I've gone through. It's not easy, but as I said, this is not a feel sorry for OP video. It's just sharing some of the things that I'm going through. Hopefully you can get something out of it. Thank you very much. To your good health and mine, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.